You asked for it. Here it is. The all-22 breakdown of San Francisco at Arizona right here on Josh's NFC West breakdowns. And this game had one headline emerging from it, the return of Brock Purdy. Let's get right into the film. Right off the bat, things got off to a great start for the San Francisco 49ers. Well, maybe not right off the bat because they quote-unquote lost the coin toss. Now, that simply means that they did not get to choose. Arizona won the toss and chose to defer, meaning San Francisco would start the game with the ball. Something seen as kind of a negative in the modern NFL. Well, they're standing on the sideline and George Kittle turns and says to one of his teammates, wouldn't it be great if Sky Moore just housed this football right now? And take a look at this blocking. You know, we've been talking about the special teams more and more on this channel. This is the first time, really, I feel, in the Kyle Shanahan era that they have really turned things around on special teams. Overall, they are looking great. Now, it's not perfect, and we're going to talk about that. But again, just look at this hole that Sky Moore has to run through. And if you want to see some serious speed, check out Kittle Clark here. He ran a 4.440 coming out of Louisville, and he is the only one on the field fast enough to track down Sky Moore on this opening kickoff for the Cardinals. Now, the tackle would be the footnote of footnotes in this game. The 49ers immediately punch it in with Christian McCaffrey. Now, coaches always like to say you should be able to get a yard, and I don't normally spend a lot of time on goal line plays like this, but I just really appreciated the 49ers blocking in this game. Jake Brendel, Dominic Pooney, Colton McKivitz all looked great here, but something I noticed, check out Kyle Juszczyk heading in the opposite direction. The middle linebacker goes with him, and Christian McCaffrey takes the space the defense left behind. With the Arizona Cardinals essentially spotting the San Francisco 49ers 7 points to start the game, they are eager to get to work on offense. And an interesting item of note in this game is that it features the NFL's 2 highest paid tight ends. Trey McBride signed a record-setting deal on April 3rd of this year, and it was beaten 26 days later by a certain George Kittle. Well, here Trey McBride, he's got a great feel for the game. He just sets up an open space, but D. Winters does a great job of anticipating this here and delivers the hit, preventing McBride from gaining any yards after the catch, and 2 plays later, the Cardinals would punt back to the 49ers. And now, for the first time, we get a chance to see what we all came here to see. Brock Purdy back to work on offense for the San Francisco 49ers. But before we take a look at this play, let's go back and take a look at how Seattle attacked this Arizona defense just 1 week ago. They started the game with a sail route, and when Budda Baker sits up on the underneath route, that allows Jackson Smith and Jigma to get in deep behind him. Well, the 49ers take note of this, and they run more of a traditional sail with all 3 receivers on one side of the field, and this time Baker does not sit up. Why? Well, take a look at the stem of Jauan Jennings' route. It looks like he's going deep, and Budda Baker is in a full sprint heading in that direction, allowing Jauan Jennings to cut to the sideline. And naturally, Brock Purdy is all over this. It's a 25-yard gain on Brock Purdy's first completion of the day. And you have been forewarned. I am going to talk about how much I love the blocking all day today. The Arizona Cardinals got creative with their pass rush, and it was no problem for the 49ers offensive line. The onslaught would continue on the next play when Brock Purdy spots Demarcus Robinson, and the 49ers are marching right down the field. Get ready, because the 49ers would scorch the Cardinals through the air on back-to-back-to-back plays. Here, Brock Purdy sees that they have just 1 safety back deep, and he changes the play at the line of scrimmage. Obviously, Arizona doesn't want to be sliced and diced like this, so here they send a 5-man rush. This explains why there's just one safety back deep, but it also means that George Kittle is going to be one-on-one with the linebacker Akeem Davis-Gaither. And this is an absolute mismatch. One Brock Purdy exploits with an absolute dime to George Kittle. Oh my goodness, what a throw. And look, I have nothing but positive things to say about Mac Jones, who was beyond outstanding filling in for Brock Purdy, clearly the talent to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, but the difference with Purdy on the field is undeniable. It's right in front of our eyes. Now, I mentioned earlier that while we've seen dramatic improvements on the special teams unit, things aren't perfect yet, and here we see something that we've talked about before. We see Luke Farrell reaching out to try to stop this guy on the outside. If you have to, let that guy go. What you don't want is to allow the inside man to penetrate. Well, that's what happens here. The kick is blocked, and then Pinheiro tries to pick it up and run with it. No, don't do that. Just fall on the ball. Instead, Pinheiro gets walloped and injured. Nevertheless, Arizona has essentially been getting punched in the face over and over again. The 49ers lead at 13-0 with just 5 minutes gone by in this game. And here, the Cardinals are facing a 3rd down and 3. Knowing that, Malik Mustapha sits up, defending the line to gain and choosing to allow the speedy Michael Wilson to get deep. Now, look, this is a low percentage play that the Cardinals are going to have to hit. The deep ball here, Michael Wilson is fast, but Stout sticks with him, turns, locates the football in the air, makes a play on it. Oh, but what a catch by Michael Wilson. Sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the opponent. Arizona would cap off the drive with Bam Knight, who led the team with 4.8 yards per carry, but they only gave it to him 5 times. Arizona completely abandoning the run with James Conner on the IR. So it's 13-7 now, and they would force a punt from San Francisco. Now we see Greg Dortch. He's going to go all the way across the field here. A lot of times returners try this, and it doesn't work because when the coverage team changes directions, the return unit usually holds. Here they don't hold. This is just great blocking, and it's a great return by Greg Dortch. The strong return would set Arizona up with a field goal attempt, and the Cardinals appear to be making a game of this, but this was essentially as close as they would come. And, case in point, the kick is no good. So the 49ers get the ball back, and we see the defensive back is giving Juwan Jennings a lot of space here. Jennings takes the space the defense left behind, but as we've looked at before, with Jennings' route running, he doesn't just run in a straight line down the field. Instead, he widens, forcing the defender to widen with him and allowing himself space to cut back to the inside. And the ball is right on the money. Once again, Arizona would rush with 5, and this time they overload the right side of the 49ers offensive line, sending 3 pass rushers against just 2 blockers. And like we talked about last week, Colton McKivitz does the right thing. He takes the inside man. If you have to turn someone loose, make sure it's the furthest possible guy away from the quarterback. He is going to come unblocked, but Brock Purdy knows right where to go with the football, and this pass is long gone before the pressure can get home. With Arizona racking their brains trying to figure out how not to get scorched through the air, Christian McCaffrey scorches them on the ground. Once again, we see great blocks across the board here, but what I really like is Dominic Pooney getting to the linebacker level and beyond. All right, we're in the second quarter now, so the teams have switched sides, but this is still the same drive. Ricky Pearsall also returned to the field in this game, and he had 1 catch for no gain, but I would argue he was also effective. Why? Well, when he runs through the zone here, it opens up players underneath like George Kittle. With the 49ers threatening, we see a lot of physical contact between George Kittle and the defender. And they're in that 5-yard zone where they are allowed to do that. And usually we think of that in terms of disrupting the route of the wide receiver, or in this case, the tight end. But in this case, it also disrupts the defense of Christian McCaffrey. I remember Bill Belichick breaking a tablet once when Kansas City did that to his defense in the playoffs. Brock Purdy finds the open man easily, touchdown San Francisco, and you just wonder how CMC gets open down in the red zone over and over again, week after week. Now, it was revealed after the game that Eddie Pinheiro did suffer a pulled hamstring, and you just wonder if that was bothering him here. He misses the extra point. Nevertheless, 1 minute and 21 seconds into the second quarter, San Francisco leads 19-7. And then the 49er defense comes up with a big stop on third down. But after the play, and I don't have footage of this, Renardo Green and Trey McBride kind of get tangled up. McBride gets his hand up in Green's face during the play. Green did not appreciate it and retaliated afterwards. Well, they always catch the second guy, so that would be a 15-yard personal foul against the 49ers, which would give the Cardinals an automatic first down. And Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh were beside themselves. They were so upset about this. And rightfully so. The 49er defense, as we all know, is depleted. So every defensive stop is a huge deal. You cannot take any of them for granted. Do not retaliate if the other team tries to bait you or get you to engage in any kind of way like that. Renardo Green did. The 49ers sat him, but they said he came back into the game and played great for the rest of the game. So that's great. But it did put the Cardinals in position to tack on another field goal here after that. So that makes the score 19-10. We have to acknowledge that the Cardinals scored points because of that mistake by Renardo Green. But you know, it's funny. This game just kind of never felt like it was in doubt for the 49ers. Both teams would trade punts, and then the 49ers would continue to just kind of chip away at Arizona, this time thanks to a shrewd play call by Kyle Shanahan. We see all the linebackers sitting up. They are not reacting to the fact that Christian McCaffrey is in the backfield, because take a look at Brock Purdy. Look at where he's looking. This is a draw play. He's trying to look like he's going to pass and then hand it off to McCaffrey at the last second. Over and over again in this game, we saw offensive players for the 49ers blocking 2 or more defenders for the Arizona Cardinals. Here, Luke Farrell blocks the defensive tackle to the inside and then gets down to the linebacker level. Now, Eddie Pinheiro, can't say enough about him, right? He got walloped early on and then missed an extra point, clearly dealing with something. And here he's trying a 48-yarder, and it's good. We see the handshake before the ball even goes through the goalpost. San Francisco extends their lead 22-10. With just 26 seconds left in the second quarter, Arizona would try to get some points before the end of the half. And here they call what I think is the dagger route. It's hard to know for sure. We see Jacoby Brissett winding up to throw this football, but the ball ends up in a weird spot. The receivers end up in a weird spot, and Malik Mustapha is right there to take advantage of it. Interception, and boy, that was a big play. It's too bad him and Green collided there. Otherwise, he could have gained some serious yardage here, and it just seemed like everything about this play was off for Arizona. Ooh, friendly fire there, but great job hanging on to that football. You know, those things happen in football. No harm, no foul. All right, so the 49ers are in position to try to tack on yet another field goal before the end of the first half here. They would like some yardage to be able to make this attempt, and we see Juwan Jennings. It's tight coverage. And this is maybe one of the throws from Brock Purdy I didn't necessarily love in this game, I don't think when we look at the all-22 here, it's not as terrible as it might have seemed on television. I did see some analysts complaining that Brock Purdy, gets bailed out by his receivers sometimes. I don't know if I would take it to that, to that level. Realistically, is there anybody better in the NFL at layering these throws over the linebacker like this? "50-50 ball to Jennings, who makes the catch. Not a bad receiver to trust in a 50-50 situation like that. The play does get the 49ers in position to attempt a long field goal as time would expire, but this is, 61 yards. We saw Pinheiro do it in Los Angeles, but he's, dealing with something. And when you try these long kicks, you don't have the luxury of kicking them up really high. You have to, have distance. You have to get the ball all the way down there, so you have to drive it. And when you drive it, it has the potential to be blocked. And we see Calais Campbell trying to get to the inside to do just that. However, the long snapper in the NFL is a protected position. Campbell knocks him back, and you can see his head is turned all sideways there. The flag would come out correctly for a personal foul against Arizona, meaning this never happened. And the 49ers would get a second attempt, but 15 yards closer this time. Opernakity tunes twice, and the kick is good. The 49ers lead at the half, 25-10. Folks, it takes a long time to make a video like this. If you could give me just 2 seconds of your time and hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. And if you ever want to support the channel, yes, of course, we have a Patreon page, and it is 100% free to sign up. These weekly breakdown videos are free on Patreon, and if you ever want to upgrade your membership, folks, we have tiers starting as low as $2 a month. It's a great way to support the channel. Link is in the description. I'd love to see you guys over there. All right, let's get back to the game. Now remember, Arizona won the coin toss, so they get the ball to start the second half. And here they are facing a huge 4th down and 1. And something that happens sometimes is the defense will commit all 11 players to trying to stop a 4th down and 1. If the running back can break through that line, well, there's nobody left to make the tackle, and they can go all the way for a touchdown, which is what happens here. But take a look at the hands of Pharaoh Brown here. To say they're outside of the framework of the body is an understatement against Nick Martin. He ends up mauling him, and this is a brutal call, but the flag would come out for holding, and I think we can see pretty clearly with video evidence here, it is the correct call, meaning this never happened. Yeah, well, enough about the poor, unfortunate Arizona Cardinals. Let's talk about the rich and prosperous San Francisco 49ers. Here we see the inside linebacker for Arizona, Cody Simon. He's just a rookie, and the 49ers have kind of been picking on him all day. He would like to come over and defend Kyle Juszczyk, but the route of Jauan Jennings prevents this. And again, as long as Jennings is just running his route, this is legal. If you've been following this channel, you know that one of the 49ers' favorite plays is to run the ball to one side and sneak a tight end out to the other side. Well, here Kyle Shanahan just adds a little bit of a wrinkle here. This run looks like it's going to go right up the middle, but they still sneak Kittle out, and the play is effective. And it's these kinds of tweaks and adjustments that Kyle makes every year that keeps these plays fresh, and then he uses old ones that teams and sometimes even your favorite YouTubers forget about, and it just keeps the offense fresh every year. Defenses just have a hard time playing against Kyle Shanahan's offense, and here's another example of it. From a health standpoint, Brock Purdy looks much better than he did against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but he's still not 100%. They said he was going to be dealing with it all year, and I think this is an example of it. Time and time again, we've seen him escape that sack, but he clearly did not have the speed there. Nevertheless, the 49ers are in position to attempt another field goal, and we've got to give it to Eddie Pinheiro. He makes yet another one. San Francisco continues to build on their lead, going up 28-10 now. Down 3 scores in the third quarter, Arizona doesn't have a lot of time to fool around here, so they send a lot of receivers deep, but all of them are covered. Well, almost all of them. But realistically, Brissett is not going to be able to stop and set his feet to huck this ball 50 yards down the field without getting creamed. His best option here is to throw this football into the stands. But Jacoby Brissett tries to force this ball into the sideline here, even though Diamador Lenoir is in great position. I wonder if Brissett's vision was obscured here. If it wasn't, then he just made a bad decision. Intercepted by Diamador Lenoir. Lenoir is making moves. Now, he was dealing with a calf injury. He doesn't appear to be at full speed here. Nevertheless, this is a great return. Maybe he could have gained a few more yards to the outside, but either way, the 49ers are in business. Maybe Lenoir could have gained some extra yardage going to the outside there. Like we said, clearly he was not at full speed. But fear not, 49er fans. San Francisco would capitalize on the drive. George Kittle looks like he's heading to the post. The safety heads in that direction, and it never ceases to amaze me how George Kittle, against these supposedly more athletic safeties and defensive backs, just is able to burn them at will. Touchdown 49ers. It's Brock Purdy's third touchdown pass of the game, and San Francisco leads it 35-10. All right, let's move ahead to the fourth quarter. Brissett completes to Elijah Higgins. Upton Stout comes in and rips the football out before he crosses the plane of the goal line, and it's recovered by Keon White. What was he doing down there? Let's go back to the snap. So far, we've seen 2 interceptions, but this is without a doubt my favorite defensive play of the game. The pass is complete to Higgins, who looks for all the world like he's going to just head into the end zone. If you're a defensive lineman, it would be easy to sort of give up on the play. You know, you're not within 10 yards of the football. Maybe you're ready to start jogging to the sideline. Not Keon White. He pursues to the play, and then he's in position to recover the football. Wow, that is impressive. That is a great play. All right, the 49ers are driving, and they're looking to put the final nail in the coffin here, but it's 3rd and 15, and this is another one of those plays where I saw people complaining that Brock Purdy was bailed out. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I love the throw, but watching the All-22, I don't know if I hate it either. Let's take a look at what Brock Purdy sees. I think the most obvious thing is that the defender's back is turned. Number 2, the defensive back doesn't know what route Christian McCaffrey is running. He doesn't know that he's going to stop here, and you're going to see as we roll this forward, this tight coverage loosens up. And then McCaffrey makes a great catch, but again, I think Brock Purdy knows that too. He has to know he has one of the best receiving backs that the NFL has ever seen out there. Purdy feels confident making that throw. Wow. Well, okay, you guys tell me what you think in the comments. Is that a terrible decision by Brock Purdy, or are some of these analysts just kind of looking for reasons to be a little bit too hard on him maybe? Oh, and by the way, Christian McCaffrey can still run the football too. These X's and O's are so fun to look at. We see Christian McCaffrey and Kyle Juszczyk lined up in the offset eye. And when you're lined up offset like that, sometimes that can indicate a run to one side of the field. And the 49ers put Kendrick Bourne in motion to that side, and the defense shifts. We've been talking about the blocking all day, and this time it's Ben Barch getting two, and Christian McCaffrey is able to take this thing right up the middle. And on the next play, it would be more of the same. Juwan Jennings, job done, thank you very much. And Colton McKivitz and George Kittle are just so good in the open field here. It wasn't perfect, but man, it was a lot of fun to watch. The 49ers ultimately did dominate in all three phases of the game. They win this one 41-22. Well, there you have it, folks. What a game for the San Francisco 49ers, and what a game for Brock Purdy in his return to the lineup. Not perfect, I would say B+, A-, but awfully good. Maybe one or two throws that he kind of threw into a crowd. In general, though, we saw a lot of what makes Brock Purdy stand out against other quarterbacks in the NFL, even ones like Mac Jones that are having a great season. Purdy, just that first pass to Kittle was just absolutely perfect. The timing, the placement of the football, he's just such a talented thrower. Now, we didn't see him scramble a whole lot in this game, and when he did scramble, he didn't really have the speed. I showed you guys that. That could have something to do with his foot. That might be something that is a factor as this season progresses. But overall, an extremely impressive performance from Brock Purdy, 73.1% completion percentage, 200 yards, 3 touchdown passes, 133.5 quarterback rating. That is unbelievable. By the way, that is his 11th game with a passer rating of over 130 in the last 4 years. No quarterback in the NFL has done that as many times in their first 4 seasons, going all the way back to 1970, including guys like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Brock Purdy is eclipsing some of the top quarterbacks in the league with these outstanding performances. Wow. The future looks bright in San Francisco. Now, what does that mean exactly? How far can the 49ers take this? Well, we'll talk about that in just 1 second. Right now, I want to take a minute to thank all of you who have signed up for the Patreon page and upgraded your memberships. Thank you so much. Your support, it truly is what is allowing this channel to continue right now. As some of you know, the NFL is kind of coming after, small independent content creators, including myself. So, the support on the Patreon page is huge, and I can't thank you guys enough. It truly means a lot to me that you would be willing to do that. Thank you so much. You humble me and you honor me. All right. What does the future hold in store for San Francisco? Well, if the playoffs were to start today, the 49ers would be in, right? Remember, there's 7 teams that make the playoffs now, not 6. So the 49ers would be in. They've got a pretty favorable schedule moving forward. The obvious elephant in the room is the defense, right? The Jacoby Brissett dropped back 57 times in this game. 0 sacks for the 49ers. They're just not quite getting home with that pass rush with guys like Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, out. Well, I think we can all be realistic and say in the playoffs, you're going to need to bring that defense or you're probably not going to advance very far. And you know what? That's okay. Don't spend a second of your time worrying about what you can't control. This is a season to just sit back and enjoy what the 49ers are doing. They are going out there and really impressing us week after week, despite being decimated on the injury front. It is a really impressive, fantastic effort from these guys and the coaching staff especially. It's a lot of fun to watch, and that's what I recommend you guys do. Let's have fun and enjoy these games. Next week against the Carolina Panthers, the 49ers are 7-point favorites at home on Monday Night Football. That is going to be a great game. I fully expect to enjoy myself during that game. All right. I don't know what's going to happen in that game, but we're going to be here to break down the film, and I will see you guys then.